You step through a doorway that seems to exist in no particular building, in no recognizable structure, just a frame of pale luminescent material that could be wood or stone or something else entirely, something that defies easy categorization. And as you cross this threshold, you feel a subtle shift in the air pressure, a gentle change in temperature, a sensation like moving through an invisible membrane that separates one kind of space from another. And when you complete your step and turn to look back, the doorway is still there behind you, reassuringly solid, a way out if you should need it, though already some part of you knows that you will not need it, that you will want to stay here for as long as possible, perhaps forever, if such everything was allowed. And you let the door close behind you with a whisper of sound so soft it is barely audible, just the faintest susurration of material meeting material, and then silence, profound and complete, wraps around you like an embrace made of quietness itself. The room you have entered is unlike any room you have ever experienced. And the first thing that strikes you, the thing that makes your breath catch in your throat and your mind struggle to process what your eyes are reporting, is that the room appears to have no clear boundaries, no definite walls or floor or ceiling. Or rather, it has these things, but they are so soft, so diffuse, so gently present that they seem more like suggestions than actual barriers. And the color of these surfaces, if they can be called surfaces, is a pale, luminous blue-gray, the color of twilight, the color of the sky in those moments just after sunset, when the sun has disappeared but its light still lingers in the atmosphere, creating a glow that comes from everywhere and nowhere. And this color shifts and breathes, growing slightly lighter in some areas and slightly darker in others, creating a sense of depth and dimension that makes it impossible to judge distances accurately, impossible to know if you are in a small room or a vast space. And this uncertainty is not uncomfortable, but rather liberating, because it means you are freed from the usual constraints of spatial awareness, freed from needing to know exactly where you are and how much room you have, and you can simply be here, in this blue-gray softness, in this gentle, indefinite space. But it is not the room itself that truly captures your attention, not the soft, indeterminate boundaries or the twilight color or the impossible-to-judge dimensions. It is what fills the room, what floats and drifts and hovers throughout this space. Because suspended in the air all around you, at every height, from what might be the floor to what might be the ceiling, moving with slow grace and purpose, are stars. Not representations of stars, not decorations or lights designed to look like stars, but actual stars, small suns burning with their own internal light, each one a sphere of luminous gas, fusing hydrogen into helium in its core, radiating energy in all directions. And these stars are small enough to fit in your palm if you were to cup your hands around one, most of them ranging from the size of a marble to the size of an apple, and they float through the room, following paths that seem both random and intentional, drifting in gentle arcs and spirals, never colliding, never coming to rest, always in motion, always moving through this blue-gray space with such grace and beauty that you feel your heart expand in your chest, feel something very much like joy or wonder or perhaps both mixed together, flooding through your entire being. You stand very still, not wanting to disturb anything, not wanting to interrupt whatever delicate balance allows these stars to float and drift in this peaceful way. And you simply watch, your eyes moving from one star to another, noting the differences between them. Because each star is unique. Each one has its own character, its own quality of light, its own color, and the variety is astonishing. There are stars that glow with pure white light, so bright and clean that looking at them makes your eyes water slightly. And there are stars that burn with a warm yellow-gold radiance, the color of sunlight, the color of late afternoon warmth. And there are stars that have a distinct orange tint, giving off light that feels nurturing and gentle, like firelight. And there are stars that burn blue-white, an intense, brilliant blue that speaks of incredible heat and energy despite their small size. And there are even stars that glow with a soft red light, deep crimson spheres that pulse gently as they drift, their light more subtle, more subdued, but no less beautiful than their brighter siblings. These stars are not stationary in their light production either. They do not burn with unwavering consistency, but rather they breathe, they pulse, they flicker in the most subtle and gentle ways, growing fractionally brighter and then fractionally dimmer in rhythms that are unique to each star. Some pulsing quickly, several times per second, creating a rapid flutter of light, while others pulse so slowly that you have to watch for many seconds before you can perceive the change, before you can see the light intensity rise and fall like the chest of a sleeping creature breathing in the slowest, deepest sleep. And this variation in pulsing creates a visual symphony, a composition of light that is constantly changing, constantly evolving. The palest blues, a rug that your feet sink into slightly with each step, a rug that adds another layer of softness between you and the hard world, another buffer, another comfort. You take a tentative step forward, and the surface beneath your feet accepts your weight with a yielding softness that surprises you. It feels like walking on the most perfectly calibrated mattress, or like walking on a surface made of firm clouds. Something that gives slightly beneath each footstep, but provides enough resistance to support you completely, to keep you from sinking too far. And the material beneath your feet, whatever it is warm, pleasantly warm, as if it has been heated by gentle sunlight. And this warmth seeps up through the soles of your feet, travels up your legs, spreads through your body, adding to the general sense of comfort and safety that this room inspires. And you take another step and another, walking slowly into the star-filled space. And as you move, the stars do not flee from you, do not avoid your presence. They continue their gentle, drifting paths, and occasionally one will float quite close to you, close enough that you could reach out and touch it, though you do not yet. You are still too awed, too overwhelmed by the beauty and impossibility of what you are witnessing. The air in this room has a quality that is difficult to describe. It feels soft somehow, as if the very molecules have been gentled, as if the air itself has been treated with some kind of care that makes it more comfortable to breathe, more pleasant to have filling your lungs. And when you inhale, you notice that the air is neither warm nor cool, but perfectly temperature neutral, matching your body temperature exactly, so that you cannot feel the boundary between the air outside your body and the air inside your lungs, creating a seamless continuity, a sense that you are not separate from this environment, but continuous with it, part of it, woven into it. And the air has a scent too, very faint, so subtle that you have to pay attention to. Notice it, but it is there. A smell like clean sheets dried in sunlight, or like the air after rain has washed everything clean, or like some combination of these things. Something that speaks of purity and freshness and care. And breathing this air makes you feel cleaner somehow. Makes you feel that whatever toxins or tensions or troubles you brought with you into this room are being gently filtered out, are being left behind with each exhale, while each inhale brings renewal, brings freshness, brings peace. You continue walking, moving deeper into the room, though the concept of deeper is somewhat meaningless in a space where all directions seem equivalent, where there are no walls providing orientation, no corners marking territory, just this soft blue-gray endlessness filled with drifting stars. And as you walk, you begin to notice patterns in how the stars move. Begin to see that while their paths appear random, they are actually following some kind of order, some underlying structure that is too complex for you to fully comprehend, but that you can sense, the way you might sense the presence of mathematics in the spiral of a shell or the branching of a tree. And you realize that the stars are avoiding each other with perfect precision, that their paths are calculated to bring them close, but never to touch, that they are dancing, essentially performing an elaborate choreography that has perhaps been going on for eternity, that will continue going on long after you leave. And this realization fills you with a kind of reverent appreciation, a sense that you are witnessing something sacred, something that transcends ordinary experience. A particularly bright star, one that glows with a warm golden light, drifts toward you, and this time you do reach out. You extend your hand slowly, carefully, palm up, and you let the star float down until it is hovering just above your palm, not touching your skin, but close, so close that you can feel the heat it radiates. A gentle warmth that is pleasant without being uncomfortable, like holding your hand near a candle flame, but not so close that it burns. And you hold very still, hardly breathing, and the star seems to pause in its drifting, seems to hover there above your palm, as if considering you, as if aware of your presence in some way. And you look into its light, into the golden glow, and you feel something shift inside you. A hardness or tightness or knot of tension beginning to loosen, beginning to dissolve in the warmth of this tiny star's radiance. And you stand there with your hand extended and the star floating above it for what might be seconds or might be minutes, time losing its usual meaning in this place, in this moment of connection between yourself and this small burning sphere of light. And then gradually, gently, the star begins to rise again, begins to continue on its path, drifting away from you. And you let it go without sadness, without a sense of loss, because you understand that it was a gift, that moment of closeness, that exchange of warmth and light, and you will carry it with you even as the star moves on. You lower your hand and continue walking, and now you notice that the sound in this room, which you initially perceived as silence, is not actually silence at all, but rather a very subtle soundscape, a collection of quiet tones and frequencies that blend together into something that is almost below the threshold of hearing, but that you can sense if you pay attention. And you stop moving and you close your eyes to focus on these sounds, and you hear what might be described as a hum, but not a mechanical hum, not the sound of electricity or motors, but rather something organic, something that sounds like the earth itself might sound if you could press your ear against it and hear it breathing, a low, sustained tone that seems to come from everywhere, from the very fabric of this space, and layered over this fundamental hum are other sounds, higher tones that fade in and fade out, that appear and disappear like distant bells or singing bowls. Sounds that are musical, but not in any conventional sense, not organized into melody or rhythm, but simply existing as pure tone, pure vibration. And listening to these sounds, you feel them resonating in your body, feel them creating sympathetic vibrations in your bones and tissues. And this vibration is soothing, is healing, is like a massage that reaches parts of you that hands could never touch. And you stand with your eyes closed, just listening, just feeling, just being present with this sonic environment. And you feel yourself relaxing even more deeply. Feel tensions you did not even know you were holding beginning to release, beginning to flow out of you and dissipate into this soft space. When you open your eyes again, everything seems slightly different, slightly more vivid, as if your moment of listening with eyes closed has somehow enhanced your visual perception. And the stars appear brighter, their colors more saturated, their movements more graceful, and you notice details you missed before, like the fact that some stars have tiny points of brighter light on their surfaces, like solar flares or prominences, little eruptions of extra brightness that appear and disappear in patterns that seem to express something, though what they express you cannot say. Perhaps joy, perhaps simply the exuberance of existence, of being a star, of burning and shining and drifting through this soft blue-gray space. And you find yourself smiling, find your face arranging itself into an expression of happiness without any conscious decision on your part, your body responding to the beauty around you with the only response that seems appropriate. You decide to sit down, and you lower yourself to the soft, warm surface beneath you, bending your knees and settling into a cross-legged position. And the surface accepts you completely, yields just enough to cradle you, to support you in perfect comfort. And you sit with your back straight but not rigid, your hands resting on your knees, your breathing slow and steady. And from this lower vantage point, the room seems different. The stars appear to fill even more of your visual field. And you are aware of stars drifting beneath what you now understand to be your line of sight. Stars that are floating at levels below where you were looking when you were standing. And you realize that the stars occupy all levels of this space, from very low, nearly touching the surface you sit on, to very high, far above your head in what might be the ceiling, but might also be infinite space. And this three-dimensional distribution of stars creates an effect of being completely surrounded, completely immersed in light, and you feel held by this light, embraced by it, as if the stars are aware of you and are arranging themselves to provide you with maximum beauty, maximum comfort, maximum peace. Time continues to pass, though you have no way of measuring it, no clock or watch or phone to tell you how many minutes or hours you have been sitting here. And this absence of time measurement is freeing, is wonderful, because it means you do not need to worry about how long you have been here or how long you should stay. You can simply be here for as long as feels right, for as long as you need. And your mind, which usually races forward into future concerns or backward into past regrets, begins to settle into the present moment, begins to release its grip on time altogether, and you find yourself simply existing, simply being aware, watching stars drift, feeling warmth beneath you and around you, hearing the subtle hum and tone of this space, breathing in and breathing out. And there is nothing else, nothing beyond this moment, this breath, this vision of slowly moving lights. And this simplicity is profound, is healing, is exactly what some deep part of you has been craving without knowing how to ask for it. A cluster of stars drifts toward you, perhaps 6 or 7 of them moving together, not touching, but close enough that they seem to be traveling as a group. And this cluster passes very near you, close enough that you are bathed in their combined light. And each star in the cluster is a different color. There is a white one, and a yellow one, and an orange one, and a blue one, and a red one, and others. And as they pass, the colors blend and mix in the air, creating new colors in the spaces between them. And you are surrounded for a moment by this rainbow of stellar light, this spectrum of warmth and radiance, and you feel each color as a different kind of energy. The white star making you feel alert and clear, the yellow star making you feel happy and optimistic, the orange star making you feel creative and inspired, the blue star making you feel calm and centered, the red star making you feel grounded and secure. And these feelings layer on top of each other, creating a state of being that is complex and full and richly textured, a state where you feel simultaneously energized and relaxed, inspired and peaceful, connected and independent. And the cluster of stars drifts on, their light fading as they move away, but the feelings they inspired remain, linger in your body and mind like the afterimage that remains when you close your eyes after looking at something bright. You shift your position slightly, uncrossing your legs and extending them out in front of you, and then you lean back, supporting yourself on your hands, and then you lower yourself further until you are lying down completely, flat on your back on this soft, warm surface. And from this position, the view is transformed entirely. Now all you can see is what is above you, the vast expanse of star-filled space that extends upward. And lying here, looking up, you could almost believe you are not in a room at all, but outside, lying on the ground, looking up at the night sky. Except that these stars are so close, so present, so clearly three-dimensional rather than distant points of light, and they move, they drift, they float down toward you. And then, away, following their invisible paths through the air. And watching them from this position is mesmerizing, is hypnotic. Your eyes tracking one star and then switching to another, following paths of light, noticing how some stars seem to spiral as they move, rotating slowly around their own axes while also traveling through space, creating complex helical trajectories that are beautiful in their intricacy. Your breathing has become very slow without you noticing, each breath taking many seconds to complete, a long, slow inhale that fills your lungs completely. A brief pause at the top where you hold the breath without effort. A long, slow exhale that empties you thoroughly. Another brief pause at the bottom, empty and still. And then the cycle begins again. And this breathing rhythm feels natural, feels exactly right for this place, for this moment. And you realize that you are breathing in sync with some of the stars, with the pulsing of their light. Your inhales matching their brightenings, your exhales matching their dimmings. And this synchronization deepens your sense of connection to this place, makes you feel that you are not just observing these stars, but participating with them, breathing with them, existing alongside them in some kind of harmony that transcends the usual separation between observer and observed. You become aware of your body in a new way. Feel it not as a solid mass, but as a collection of sensations. There is warmth where your back contacts the soft surface beneath you. There is the gentle movement of your chest rising and falling with each breath. There is the weight of your arms resting at your sides. There is the position of your legs extended and relaxed. There is the feeling of your head cradled by the yielding surface. And all these sensations are pleasant, are comfortable, are exactly as they should be. And you feel grateful to your body for carrying you here, for functioning so reliably, for allowing you to experience this moment, this place, this beauty. And you send a kind of mental thank you to your body, an acknowledgement of its constant work, its endless efforts to keep you alive and functional. And in response, you feel your body relaxing even more. Feel it accepting this gratitude and using it as permission to let go of any remaining tension, any unnecessary holding. And you feel yourself sinking deeper into the soft surface. Feel yourself becoming heavier and lighter simultaneously, grounded and floating at the same time. Above you, a particularly large star, one perhaps the size of a grapefruit, drifts into view. And this star is extraordinary because it is not a single color, but seems to contain all colors. Its surface shifting and swirling with hues that blend into one another, blues becoming purples, becoming reds, becoming oranges, becoming yellows, becoming greens, becoming blues again in an endless cycle. And watching this multicolored star is like watching a living painting, like observing some kind of cosmic art that is creating itself moment by moment. And the light that comes from this star washes over you in waves of different colors, bathing you first in blue, then purple, then red, and so on. And each color feels different on your skin. The blue feels cool and calming. The purple feels mysterious and deep. The red feels warm and nurturing. And you lie there receiving this light, receiving these colors, letting them wash over you and through you, letting them tint your thoughts and feelings. and under the influence of this rainbow star, you feel your consciousness expanding. Feel your sense of self becoming less defined, less solid. Feel yourself beginning to blur at the edges, to merge with the space around you, to become less a discrete individual and more a temporary focal point of awareness in a larger field of consciousness that includes the stars and the room and the soft surface and everything. And this dissolution of boundaries is not frightening, but rather peaceful, is like finally relaxing after holding yourself rigid for a very long time, like finally allowing yourself to be who and what you really are, rather than maintaining the exhausting fiction of being a completely separate, isolated individual. Time continues its strange behavior in this place, expanding and contracting, moments seeming to last forever and then suddenly collapsing into nothing. And you have no idea how long you have been lying here, no sense of whether you arrived recently or have been here for hours or days. And this uncertainty does not trouble you, because you understand at some level that time in this room operates according to different rules than time outside, that this is a pocket dimension where the usual constraints do not apply, where you can spend as long as you need and emerge to find that no time has passed in the world you came from. Or perhaps this is merely what you wish to believe, what you need to believe in order to surrender fully to this experience. And the truth of it does not matter. What matters is that you are here now, lying on your back, watching stars drift, feeling peace settle into your bones like sediment settling to the bottom of a still pond. You notice that your thoughts have become very quiet, that the usual constant stream of mental chatter has slowed to a trickle and then stopped almost entirely, leaving your mind clear and spacious, empty but not void, receptive but not seeking, simply present, simply aware. And in this mental silence, you can perceive things that are usually drowned out by the noise of thinking. You can feel the subtle energies of your own body, can sense the field of warmth that surrounds you, can perceive the individual photons of light from the stars landing on your skin and being absorbed, converted into tiny amounts of heat and chemical reactions. And this perception is not intellectual, not something you are thinking about, but rather something you are directly experiencing, a kind of knowing that bypasses thought entirely. And you rest in this knowing, rest in this direct perception, and it feels like coming home to yourself, like remembering something you always knew but had forgotten, like recognizing your true nature beneath all the layers of conditioning and habit and assumed identity. A star descends very slowly until it is hovering just above your chest, perhaps 6 inches above your heart. And this star is a soft rose gold color, warm and gentle, and it pulses with a rhythm that you gradually realize is matching your heartbeat, or perhaps your heartbeat is matching its pulse. It is impossible to say which is leading and which is following, but the synchronization is perfect, and you can feel the warmth from this star penetrating through your clothes, through your skin, sinking deep into your chest, warming your heart. And this warmth is not just physical, but emotional. You feel your heart opening, feel barriers you did not know you had constructed beginning to dissolve, feel old pain and old hurt beginning to soften. and release. Not all at once, not dramatically, but gently, gradually, like ice melting in spring sunlight. And tears form in your eyes, not tears of sadness, but tears of relief, tears of release. Tears that come when something that has been held tight for a long time is finally allowed to let go. And these tears slide down the sides of your face and are absorbed by the soft surface beneath your head. And you feel lighter afterward, feel cleaner, feel as though something that was stuck has come unstuck, something that was blocked has opened. And you are grateful to this rose gold star hovering above your heart. You send it a wordless thank you, and it seems to pulse a bit brighter in acknowledgement before slowly drifting upward and away. Continuing on its endless path through this room of stars. You close your eyes for a moment, just wanting to rest them, wanting to experience this place without vision for a while. And with your eyes closed, you become even more aware of the sounds, the subtle hum, and the occasional tone. And you hear something new now, or perhaps it was always there, and you are only now noticing it. A very faint sound, like voices singing. Not words, just sustained vowel sounds. Ah and oh, blending together in harmonies that are almost too perfect, too pure to have been made by human voices. These must be the stars themselves singing, you realize, each star producing its own tone, and all the tones together creating this choir of light and sound. And you listen with your eyes closed, and you feel the music entering you through your ears, but also through your skin, through every pore. The vibrations moving through you, rearranging something at a cellular level, tuning you the way you might tune an instrument, bringing you into harmony with this place, with these stars, with this moment. When you open your eyes again, you see that the quality of light in the room has shifted slightly. The blue-gray of the walls and ceiling and floor has deepened to a darker blue, closer to midnight blue or the blue of deep ocean water. And this darker background makes the stars appear even brighter, even more vivid, their lights standing out in sharp relief against the dark surround. And the overall effect is of looking at the night sky, the real night sky, as it appears far from cities and light pollution, where stars are not just scattered points, but a dense carpet of light, a visible representation of the unfathomable number of suns burning in the universe. And you feel your perspective shift, feel yourself remembering that you are a creature on a tiny planet, orbiting an average star in an unremarkable galaxy among billions of galaxies. And this remembering could be crushing, could make you feel insignificant and meaningless. But instead, it is liberating. Because if you are so small, then your problems are also small. Your worries are microscopic. Your fears are less than nothing when measured against the scale of the cosmos. And this recognition allows you to let them go, allows you to release whatever burdens you have been carrying, allows you to simply be here, now. A small consciousness experiencing beauty, experiencing wonder, experiencing peace. You sit up slowly, carefully, as if moving too quickly might disturb something, might break the spell of this place. And you bring your knees up and wrap your arms around them, resting your chin on your knees. And you sit like this, compact and contained. and you watch the stars continue their drifting, and you notice that you can now predict just slightly where a star will move next. You can sense the patterns, can feel the invisible currents that carry them. And this ability to predict makes you feel even more connected, even more part of this system. As if by spending time here, you are learning the language of this place, are beginning to understand its logic, its rules, its rhythms. And this understanding is wordless and intuitive. Not something you could explain to anyone, but something you know in your body, in your bones, in the deep instinctive part of your brain that understands patterns and flows. You decide to stand, and you unfold yourself and rise slowly to your feet. And from this height, the room looks different again. The stars that were above you when you were lying down are now at various levels, some still above you, some at chest height, some floating near the ground. And you begin to walk, to move through the star field. And as you walk, you extend your arms out to your sides, and stars drift past your fingertips, so close you can feel the heat they radiate, can feel the gentle push of light pressure against your spin. And you walk slowly, dreamily, turning in circles, spiraling, following no particular path, just moving through beauty, moving through light. And as you move, you begin to feel lighter yourself. Feel as if gravity holding you to the ground is loosening its grip. And with each step you take, you lift a little higher, stay in the air a little longer, until you are not quite walking, but rather floating, drifting, moving through the space the same way the stars do. And this floating feels natural, feels right, feels like this is how movement should always feel, effortless and graceful. And you move through the star-filled space, turning slowly, looking in all directions, seeing stars before you, and beside you, and behind you, and behind you, and above you, and below you, completely surrounded by light, completely immersed in radiance. You float toward a region where several stars of different colors have clustered together, and you position yourself in the center of this cluster. And you stop moving, stop floating, and you simply hang there in space. And the stars orbit slowly around you, creating a carousel of colored lights. And you turn slowly, rotating in place. And as you turn, the colored lights wash over you in sequence, white and yellow and orange and blue and red and purple. And you feel yourself being bathed in these colors, being blessed by them, being healed by them, each color addressing a different aspect of your being. White bringing clarity, yellow bringing joy, orange bringing creativity, blue bringing peace, red bringing vitality, purple bringing wisdom. And the stars circle you again and again. And with each circuit, you feel more whole, more integrated, more yourself than you have ever been. And you close your eyes and simply feel, simply exist in this moment of being surrounded by stellar light, of being the center of your own small cosmos, of being recognized and honored and cared for by these celestial beings who have gathered around you for reasons you do not need to understand. You only need to receive, to accept, to allow yourself to be given this gift. The stars eventually drift away, their orbit expanding, carrying them outward until they are no longer circling you but have returned to their normal paths through the room. and you hang in space for a moment longer before you feel gravity beginning to reassert itself, gently pulling you back down, and your feet touch the soft surface, and you settle your weight back onto the ground. And you stand there feeling changed, feeling different, feeling as though something fundamental has shifted inside you, some recalibration has occurred, some healing has taken place. And you know that when you leave this room, when you return to the ordinary world, you will carry this change with you. It will be part of you now, woven into your being. A gift that cannot be taken back or lost. You walk slowly to what you sense is the center of the room. Though in a space without clear walls, the concept of center is approximate at best. But you walk to a place that feels central, that feels like the heart of this space. And you sit down again, and this time you arrange yourself in a different position. You lie on your side, curled slightly, one arm extended above your head, the other folded against your chest, your knees bent, your body forming a gentle curve. And in this position, you feel vulnerable but safe, exposed but protected. And you close your eyes and you listen to the singing stars, to the harmonic hum that fills this space. And you let yourself drift. Not quite sleeping, but not quite waking either, existing in that a liminal state between, where consciousness continues but thought ceases, where you are aware but not thinking, present but not active. And in this state, you experience the room not as a place you are in, but as a space you are part of. You are woven into the fabric of this star-filled dimension. You are one more element in its composition, no more or less important than the stars, or the soft surface, or the blue-gray walls, or the singing silence. Just another aspect of this peaceful whole. Time becomes completely meaningless now, if it ever had meaning here, and you exist in an eternal present moment that stretches on, and you are content in this eternity. You need nothing, want nothing, desire nothing. You are complete exactly as you are, exactly where you are. And this completeness is not something you have achieved or earned. It is simply what you are when you strip away all the layers of striving and seeking and wanting. When you let yourself be exactly as you are without trying to be different or better or more. And this is rest. This is true rest. Not just the rest of the body, but the rest of the spirit. The rest of the deepest part of yourself that is always working, always trying, always pushing forward. And this room, that part, can finally stop, can finally lay down its burden, can finally simply be. You become aware of a presence, not another person, but something else. Perhaps the consciousness of the room itself, perhaps the collective awareness of all the stars, perhaps something else entirely, but you feel it. Feel that you are not alone, that you are being witnessed, being seen, being known. And this being known is not uncomfortable or invasive. It is gentle and kind. It is like being known by a loving parent or a devoted friend, being known completely and accepted completely. And you feel tears forming again, feel emotion welling up, not sadness, not pain, but something like gratitude mixed with relief, mixed with love. A complex cocktail of feelings that you cannot name, but that you feel in every cell of your body. And you let these feelings move through you, without trying to control them or understand them. You simply let them be. Let them flow like water, like light, like time itself. A star drifts very close to your face, close enough that you could kiss it if you wanted to. And this star is the purest white, so bright and clean that it seems to contain all other colors within its whiteness. And you look into this white star, and you see something, not with your physical eyes, but with some other kind of vision. You see yourself, but not yourself as you appear in mirrors, not the surface self, the body self, but the deeper self, the essential self, the self that exists beneath all the roles and identities and masks you wear. And this self is beautiful, is radiant, is made of light just like the stars around you. And you realize that this is the truth, that you are not separate from these stars, not different in kind, only different in degree. You are also a being of light, also a consciousness that shines, also a presence that matters in the cosmic scheme. And seeing yourself this way, reflected in the white star, changes something, shifts something, heals something that you did not even know was broken. And when the star drifts away, you carry this vision with you, this new way of seeing yourself, this recognition of your own essential nature. You open your eyes fully now, and you sit up, and you look around at this room full of stars, this impossible, beautiful space that has given you so much, has offered you rest and healing and wisdom and peace. And you feel ready now, ready to return to the ordinary world, carrying what you have received here, knowing that you can return to this place in memory whenever you need to remember who you really are beneath all the surface noise and chaos of daily life. And you stand up, and you take a moment to simply stand in the center of this star-filled space, to turn slowly in a complete circle, to look at the stars from all angles, to memorize this scene, to imprint it deeply in your mind so that it will always be accessible, always available, a refuge you can visit whenever you close your eyes and remember. You walk toward where you sense the doorway must be, and as you approach, the door materializes out of the blue-gray softness, becomes solid and present, offering you exit, offering you return. And you place your hand on the door handle, and you pause, and you turn back for one more look, and the stars are all there, all still drifting, all still glowing, all still singing their harmonic song. And you whisper a quiet thank you to them, to this room, to whatever power or consciousness created this place and allowed you to find it. And then you turn back to the door, and you open it, and you step through. And as you cross the threshold, you feel the familiar weight of ordinary gravity reasserting itself. Feel the boundaries of your body becoming more defined. Feel yourself becoming more solid, more singular, more separate. But you carry with you the memory of floating among stars, the feeling of being woven into light, the knowledge of your own luminous nature. And these things cannot be taken from you. These things are yours now, permanently. Gifts that will nourish you for the rest of your life. Reminders that beauty exists, that peace is possible, that you, at your core, made of the same stuff as stars, burning with your own light, following your own path through the darkness, shining.